Hi, this is Santiago Zapata, also known as Slashy or Slashing Dragon, and today we're going to continue the development of OpenArthurianX6. It's been some months since since I last worked on it. I think yesterday I worked a little bit, and I resumed working, and we are so close to complete milestone 9. I'm feeling very optimistic about getting the remaining milestones done pretty quick. If you don't know what OpenArthurianX6 is, there's a link in the video, openarthurian.com. In this website, you can see what it's about and details about everything. Basically, it's an engine to create games similar to Ultima 6. And the idea, well, this is a similar thing of those RPG makers kind of stuff where you don't have to be a coder to create your game, but you can be a coder and fully exploit the game. So yeah, I won't go into details as to what it is. As you can see the previous videos or read the description on the website. But yeah, I want to go straight into coding. So let's do that. We are getting close to completing the milestone plan. Back on March, we completed milestone 7, and I believe today or tomorrow we should be able to complete milestone 8, and then there's milestone 9 and 10. But we have already done a lot of progress. So yeah, yesterday I finished the schedule. So you can see here, this little guy has a simple schedule where he goes to work in these fields, and then he goes to sleep when it's night, and then he goes to have dinner or lunch rather here, and that included like opening doors so they don't close them when they are on the way out. But yeah, so the other part of the schedule based on the milestone plan was for this NPC to go to sleep, and that part isn't yet I mean, beyond the actual schedule, I mean, unrelated to the schedule, the engine still doesn't support having NPCs go to sleep. So we're going to implement that first and then integrate that into the schedule. We're going to jump into the code, and now that I mentioned code, I should also let everybody know that the idea is I'm going to be releasing the code of this when we hit the milestone 8. So pretty soon, next week, the code should be available on GitHub. I think it's about time. I think it's about time, and I believe it's going to be good to have more eyes on it and see if there's anyone that can help uh, with stuff. There's still lots of things to do. Probably I'm looking forward to also include, after the milestones are completed, to also include the some kind of editor or some kind of tool that will allow to create games more easily. I mean, initially the idea is to complete the scope of the engine and have people be able to create a game using by manually editing some JSON files or some data. But yeah, that's not ideal. Ideally, we would have a tool where people can input the definitions for the NPC, the schedules, that in addition of using tiled as a map editor. So, all right, let's go into it. So we're going to implement sleeping, and we have a class which is called the mob class. We're going to make it so that there's an attribute here that is represents if the mob is sleeping. We're going to add a function toggle sleep, and this is just going to set this flag inside or this attribute inside the mob. But we also need to update the sprite. I need to look into how the sprites are currently set here. It seems that they are assigned directly, and this sprite is actually a phaser sprite, if I'm not wrong. And yeah, it's a phaser sprite, and it has animations. And probably what we can do is we can add additional animation to kind of use this as a state machine uh, inside the phaser sprite. So when the sprite is loaded, you see here, get sprite for mob. Let's see what it does. And actually, I should mention that I'm just getting back the idea of how a lot of things work here, because it's been months since I last worked on it. But anyways, get sprite from mob. It works receiving the game, which is a phaser game, and the mob itself with the data. And basically what we need is the definition from that mob and the appearance. And so there's a data module with the appearances, which is this one. And this module has the IDs or the indexes on the tile set for different things. So let's look, for example, for if we go to the NPCs definitions, because initially what we're going to do is make this little guy go to sleep. Where is him? He's here. So instead of staying there in walking in the night, he's going to actually go to sleep. So this guy is Corvus. Let's look at the definition file for Corvus, and we'll see what appearance he has. So Corvus is here, and he's got the appearance. Let's see, type Corvus. So okay, so here in the mob types, I believe it's where we can find that his appearance is man2. And if we go to the appearances module, we have man2 here, and it has up, down, left, right, and dead. All right, so what we're going to do is something similar to death, but it's going to be called asleep. And initially, let's use the same index as death. Right? Let's do that for man2, the yellow. For man2 initially, just for man2. All right, so this means, I'm going to show in a second what this means. If we look at the tile set, it has a sequence of different sprites, and I'm just loading it. Okay, so it should be around here somewhere. Let's see. Okay, so here are the tile sets, and we got the mobs, this one, right? So you can see here that we got, for example, man2 is this one, right? So the indexes that we see here are indexes in this sheet, and it's saying that index 12 for death, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 3 6 9 12 13, and it's zero based, so it's actually pointing to this one, which is not very good. It should add like this this offset. So let's add that offset. And yeah, all this data is just placeholders. Ideally, the idea is to create a more complete scenario to serve as a real display of what OpenArthurianX6 can do. But that's what there is for now. All right. So there's that. So we already defined the asleep index for it. Let's see how we are using the dead index. So in the let's see. I don't see how we are using it. Let's see if maybe referencing by this. No. So yeah, it's weird that we are not using it. We probably, it's weird that we're not using it, because I recall that when mob dies in combat, its sprite changes. But anyways, let's go back here. So mob factory obtains the appearance here and adds 4 animations. So the actual death is not using the animation as I intended to do with sleep. Let's see how what it does. So somewhere. All right. Okay. So here's the thing. We are not actually using that because maybe that was something that we did before. But what we are doing now is we add a corpse, and that's an item, and that's unrelated to the actual mob. Well, I mean, it's defined on the mob definition, but it doesn't have anything to do with the appearance. So, so yeah, I believe that this is not good. I mean, we should not have this here, and I'm going to clean up a little bit because it's a bit misleading. Maybe it was part of an initial design, but that's no longer what we want. So let's remove it from all these definitions. And all right. And then in that case, I believe it makes sense to use the animation. So we're going to try this. We're going to add sleep as an animation, and then say that we're going to use just that single frame, appearance dot asleep. Asleep. Yeah. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set that animation somehow. So in the same way, well, this is added. In the same way that we're setting the walk animations here, when we look at something, we're going to play the sleep animation when we go to sleep. And I'm also going to add this sleep. Where was it? Okay, here. Sleep index to the avatar, the main character, in order to test this more easily. I wonder which one it is. Let's see again. When the player is created, we are creating it using the avatar definition, and if we see the mob types, that there should be an avatar. Yeah, and okay, so man1 is the avatar. So then again, in the appearances of man1, we're going to also add the asleep. We're going to use that death sprite for now. And yeah, let's go ahead and use it. So we added this toggle sleep function. So if we are going to sleep, then we play this animation. All right. Disable, and then we still don't have a hot reload thing set up, so we have to manually rebuild every time. And let's go and see how it looks. So it's not broken, and what we're going to do is we can access at least momentarily the player object through here, so we can toggle to true, and it's a sleeping. So that first part worked. Right. And then if I move, I wonder what's going to happen. No, so it's good that we will not need to do anything special to reset the normal animations, because once we start walking, it's just going to use the other animation. So that's another advantage of reusing the same sprite object and just having a different animation. Yeah. Okay. So that's well, another thing we need to do is, if we are asleep, we need to change the AI, right? Because in that case, it's just going to not do anything. And what I mean is that, well, while you are asleep, you don't want to do anything. So you're just like staying there in place. So Mm, let me see where I should put that. I wonder if I should do this like in the topmost part, like if we are using execute AI, if we're acting and we are sleeping, then we don't do anything. Let me see where's the best place to put that. It's only called here. I wonder if I should do it before or afterwards in the call. I'm not sure if that's part of an AI. I guess not. Let's put it here. So if we are asleep, we are sleeping, so we're going to just don't do anything until for a second, like this. Okay, that's one thing. But we also need to wake up. So maybe here we need to add the logic to wake up. And we could have like different ways. For example, if the player attacks an NPC, well, then it should like force it waking up. But also if we are just like having a scheduled wake up, we should put that here. So I wonder if this should be like a number of hours or a time of the day to wake up. I guess we could have. Hmm, that's a good question. Because right now we have a time of the day. Um, Initially, let's put this as hours. So when you go to sleep, we need to set a number of hours you are asking this guy to sleep. So let's split this into functions. We're going to have one go to sleep with a number of hours, and we're going to have wake up. And go to sleep is going to set this to true, and it's going to set the animation, and it's also going to set a flag, um, a counter hours to wake up, I guess. And now we need to somehow detect that an hour has passed. Um, there's an hourly check thing, but I believe it's only called for the player. If we go to the world class, we do have this is where the logic of the time passing goes. There's an hourly notification. Oh, it's done for the level. Okay, so we go to the level class. We check the hourly notification. Here it is. For now, what it's doing is increasing the hunger of all the party members, but we can also check for the check for NPCs that should wake up. And what we do here is for all the mobs, mobs.filter m such that m dot is asleep. So for all the sleeping mobs, uh, we're going to call check wake up. Hourly wake up check. Uh-huh. And is that the correct name? Well, another thing that we need to do eventually is migrate this to TypeScript. And that's another thing that I hope if community can help with. Hopefully, there's a lot of cleanup to be done, but the first goal is to achieve 1.0. So we'll see when that happens. But yeah, definitely we need to do the change the toggle to TypeScript because it's growing, and if someone else is going to work with this, that's going to make it much easier. So yeah, but we're still not there, and it's probably a couple hours thing, I think, hopefully, but still something that requires investing some time. Anyways, our early wake up check, and what we do here is we are going to reduce hours to wake up, And if it's below 0, then we wake up. Right. And this is probably not going to work with the player because I'm not sure if time passes. Well, let's do something. Let's put something here. So I hope the microphone is still working. And yeah, so when we go to sleep, we set the number of hours, and then we check. Okay, so let's try this again. So again, we build, and we check in the browser because that's where we test most things. And again, we're going to use the player as a, we're going to call go to sleep for 3 hours. Going to sleep, and let's see if time, I believe time should continue because we are not doing anything for it to change, but it's not happening. That's interesting. Yeah, it's like maybe it's because I'm. Yeah, the time stopped. Okay, so it continues on. Yeah, it was because I was on the debug menu. All right, so time's passing. If all goes right, we should see a notice here about waking up. Time goes slowly, slowly. Three hours waking up. All right, so it worked. Great. All right. So that's like the basic infrastructure. Let's try doing this with another mob that is not player. So we're going to look for Corvus. Mobs that, so there are 7 mobs here. We're going to find a mob whose def dot, no, they don't have def dot id is Corvus, maybe. Yeah, no, NPC def. No ID of undefined. Mobs. See what they have. They have definition. Okay. Oops. Try to move myself and I move the other thing. So yeah, I'm just playing around here in the debugger. So definitions mobs for each no, not for each. Find a mob which has a definition with an ID which equals corpus. So we got him, and we are going to go to sleep for 1 hour. Now, what was it? Insu. And he's sleeping. He looks dead, but don't worry, he's just sleeping. And we'll see if he wakes up in 1 hour and starts working again or doing something. We'll see. Hopefully he's not dead. Wake up, Corvus. Corvus. Okay, he woke up and he's going there. Okay, so that's good. That works good. Let's now. I need to pull myself back here. Let's now integrate this to these NPC schedules, but we are going to send this change individually. So this change includes cleaning up this, and probably, yeah, let's set the that's no, let's do that afterwards. Let's set the asleep for all of these using 12. I mean the dead sprite. What I was going to say is maybe we should also create a sleep, right? But coding first. Code should go first. We can always do the art later. Sleeping rat. So it's set, and we're going to stage that and stage this, and here in the mob stage this as well. Without the console.log, we don't need this. And what is this? The sleep animation that we added. So this is the basic support for sleep on mobs. And now we're going to tie that into the schedules, into the NPC schedules. So let's do that by going to the mob code where the AI currently is. We close the others, and we are also going to check the NPC definitions. So in here we have the schedule, for example, for Corvus. Here it is. So he's set to work in the field from 7 to 5 to 12, then go to have lunch until 2 p.m. and then go to sleep at 8 p.m. And what we are going to do here is we're going to set something here like action on action or something like that, and we're going to set this to sleep so that we know that we need to go to sleep here. Sleep, okay. I don't know, action. And then the type is sleep. And the hours is he's going to sleep, I don't know, maybe, well, he needs to wake up 7 to work. So 8 p.m. to 7 is like well, it's a lot of time, 4, and maybe he should wake up a little bit earlier before going to sleep, to work. Let's see, but he's going to go to sleep again. I don't know, 7 hours. Okay. So what we do here is that there's a follow destination function here. And we need to know if we arrived at the destination. This is what determines that we have arrived at the destination. This, or also there's somewhere else. There's like a minimum distance somewhere that determines that we have arrived to the destination. But I don't see it. Pump on direction, move randomly, walk towards destination. I don't see it. I don't see that. Bump on direction. No, this is like a generic bump, like walk color. Um, Walk towards destination. That's interesting. Okay, so here it is. Okay. So this is what detects that we are close enough to the destination. So what we're going to do here is return this dot arrived at destination. And what destination it is? It's the well, the desired location. That's where we arrived. And we're also going to call that here. And in here, well, we arrive to the scheduled location. And we're going to implement this inside the thing. So arrived as at destination. Desired location. Okay, so let's do it. Let's always set this desired location. And let's not have any parameters. So that here we know that the destination is the target that we had. And then we are going to delete it. And then we're going to do this. So this is the new stuff. If the destination has an action, then we do that action. Else we just move randomly, which is what we used to do before. And if the action of the destination, if the type is sleep, then we go to sleep. Go to sleep for how long? For the parameter that we set here, hours. We still don't know how to handle any other kind of action, so we're going to change this here. And this is it. This is the arrived at destination function. Yeah. And if we go to sleep, what are we doing? Because we need to return an action here. But if we go to sleep, we don't want the player to do anything, so we're going to return this action which does nothing. Let's look for it. Well, okay, so let's just resolve. So we don't do anything. I wonder if that will work. Good question. All right, so let's check the chain of stuff here. So if when we call follow schedule, this is from execute AI, and execute AI is called here, and sometimes it's just returns a delay. So yeah, I believe that should work. Let's just resolve there. I believe we can just do nothing, but this is cleaner probably. All right. So the way to test this, we're going to need time to go by much quicker, but because we need the, no, let's do something. Let's ask him to also sleep when he goes to work. That's the first thing that he does. So this is temporary. Yeah. Okay, so let's build again. And let's check again how it's working. So he's inside the house and he's going to go out to work pretty soon. And once he arrives there, he should go to sleep. One, here he comes, and go to the field and fall asleep. Well, he did not fall asleep. Uh, hmm. Why don't you go to sleep? Let's check the code and see what's going on. Action on the, okay, all right, so I believe the problem is we are just getting the location here. Destination is the location, but we assign here the desired location XY, and this get desired location by scheduled returns the, what does it return? The location, not the full activity. So that's a bit troublesome. I believe it will be better to return the entire next activity. So let's do that. Let's return the full next activity here, which means that everywhere we use the desired location, the scheduled current location, it's we can no longer just use it as an X and Y location, but as a full object. So in here it works fine because it's just a reference, but in here is where we need to call the location of the destination. And here we arrived at destination. We no longer need this. Let's see where else we're using it. All right, that should be enough, I believe. So that was the only part. No, I don't think this is right. There should be somewhere else but where we were using the X and Y of this, X and Y. Hmm. No, nowhere. All right. Maybe that's okay. Walk toward destination. All right. So here it is. Here it is. Um, here we need to send the location. And actually, this is no longer a destination. It's an activity. Hi, Ryan. Yes, yes, I believe that's super needed to have a nap first time in the morning. All right. So, okay. So this is not a destination, and I believe this kind of stuff better to be done timely. Let's rename this. So walks towards activity, right? And walk towards activity. That's a better name for this function because we are no longer walking to just a position. We're walking somewhere to do something. So we're going to rename that here. And where else? Let's see, walk towards activity. Now receives this. So schedule current destination should be changed also to schedule, let's say next activity. Yeah, I believe that's a better name for it. Yes. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this kind of stuff may not seem important, but on the long term, it makes the code much more readable. So we gotta do it. And again, it's kind of a manual refactor. Um, Follow schedule. If there's no next activity, then move randomly. If there is, then follow follow destination should also be renamed. So it should be more like go to next activity. Okay, and let's continue seeing like what we are missing. So this is where using TypeScript will be much safer, right? Uh, but yeah, we are not using TypeScript yet. So in here, yeah, there's already a problem here. Next activity requires the location. And schedule next activity is next activity. If distance is over 5, go to next activity, else we arrived at the activity. But I'm going to first run a little bit here. Okay, so in here, arrived at activity. Arrived at activity. All right. Okay. Let's see what we broke. Going to open the door for him so he can come here work. It's time to work. And when you go to get to the field, you gotta sleep. That's the rule. Come now, Corvus. Aren't you sleepy? Go to sleep. Sleep now. All right. Went to sleep for how long? 7 hours. Okay, so that's probably going to take a little bit. Now we're going to do a final test here. We're going to reset these activities so only the right one has a sleep action. And we are just going to set the thing here to start a bit later on the day, like I don't know, maybe 20 p.m. So that's 20 plus 20 by, but that's 8 p.m. 22, well, 17. That's 5 p.m. 5 p.m. Okay. And then we're going to make time go by much quicker. So right now it's like every second it's 5 minutes. Let's increase that to 45 minutes. Okay. And let's rebuild. And so it's 5 p.m. He'll soon want to go to bed, hopefully. So there he is. He's going to this place and he's asleep now. And now it's almost time to wake up and go to work. So do that. That also reminds me that, okay, so there's a problem here. Um, yeah, I had detected that and I will put it to do to fix it. Because right now this hourly notification is only done if these increments are like exactly summing up to 100. And that's not good. Fix this so that it's called if current minute of hour is over 100 or something like that. For now, let's change that to 50, I believe. or 30. Let's see, 30 minutes each second. Let's see. He comes, goes to sleep. He falls asleep in the entrance. Probably should also make it so that he looks for a bed or something instead of just dropping there. But that's an improvement. Wakes up, go to work. What are you doing there? Okay, so he woke up a little bit earlier. Don't want to go to sleep yet. Yeah, I'm worried because I thought he would retry going to sleep for another X hours instead of going to work. And probably actually that's an outstanding issue here that we gotta fix. Like this action should only be done once. Yeah, I think I'll add that. So let's add that here once. Well, once, crap, but we're cloning the, hmm. Yeah, there's a problem here because if we wake up, so let's say that he arrives at this activity, which is for 8 p.m. He arrives at, for some reason at 22 and sleep for 7 hours. That's 29, that's 5 a.m. And then he's still in here because it's still not time to work. Then he's going to also execute this action and sleep again. And it's going to be a lot of sleep and he's not going to be up in time for work. But the problem is that we cannot just remove this action. Maybe what we can do is have it so that he cannot go to sleep again so quickly. But how do we reset that? Yeah, that's something to consider. Um, let's that has to be fixed. And right now it did not happen because time is going by really quick. But it's going to happen when time goes at normal speed. We also need to do more stuff here, like do more stuff while reacting to him being asleep. But first, let's take care of the schedule thing. So yeah, let's see what can we do here. It's like you should only do this action once, right? The problem is that this object is regenerated every time we ask for the scheduleness activity. See here, when we assign this next activity, this function creates a new object with the data from the activity. So we cannot just remove the activity from there because it's going to be added back. And we cannot put anything there, like a flag or anything, because it's going to be overwritten. So we need to find a different solution to prevent him from redoing an action or something. It's either that or we can have some control to prevent going to sleep um, after. I mean, if you just woke up so that you don't go to sleep again that quick. I don't know what to do about it. We can do that here, like, yeah, I believe that's better because maybe for some action we will want them to be done multiple times. Like in the future, for instance, we could implement something like, well, when you're on the field, the action is work the field, and every time you are there, do that. Um, but then we can have this once flag, right? I don't know what solution I like more. Um, I'm undecided. Once. once. Should we try that one? Let's try that one. So we need a way to identify the action, right? So something like that's one problem, because right now these activities don't have an identity. They are just objects without an identity. You see that right now we have these comments here, but I believe we're going to need some kind of identity if we want to mark somehow that we already slept on this activity. And since we are cloning or creating new objects every time, the JavaScript object identity is not going to be enough. So let's add that. Yeah, let's add that. Something like this. And if the activity is marked as once and we already did it, then we don't do it, right? Something like here, action, right? So here, if the destination has an action, all right, if that action is once, then we do some stuff. If we already did it, then we move randomly. But if not, then we check and do like the actual thing that's gotta be done. And how do we check if we already did it? We need to do something like check something with the ID of the action. If destination.action.id is this dot last action, last scheduled action ID, then we don't do anything. Just walk randomly, I guess. But if we do something, then we set it. And we need to reset it somehow. So when the next action is scheduled, right? So if we are on the next action, then we delete that last scheduled action ID. So it's something like when we get assigned this activity, so right here, this is the only place, I believe, yeah. So it's something like if this next activity has an ID which is different than the ID of the last thing we did, and we delete it, probably that should work. Because when we change, if we stay on the same time slot, then we are going to be stuck here. But then if we advance to another time slot, it's going to be different ID. It's going to be deleted and then can be executed again when we go back. But if we stay on the same, then we're stuck there, and we keep walking randomly. Yeah, I think that should work. And we only care about that if it's an once action, right? We can merge that here. Okay. And let's try again. Let's try. We can. Yeah, I think the best way to test this is let's sleep for just an hour, and let's change this so that it's not that quick. Like change this to 20 minutes per second. Save all. Rebuild and test. Actually, no, that's going to work fine. He's there. He's going to work. No, he's going to bed. He sleeps. He didn't sleep. He didn't want to sleep for some reason. Maybe he woke up very quickly. I don't think so. He sleep for 2 hours once it's true. There's an action once. Oh, oh no, no, that's fine because this is only set here. Maybe because they are undefined. I don't think so. But let's add some ideas to this just in case. But I don't believe that's a problem. We're going to try to go to the fields, but then we'll change his mind and go to sleep. And he's not sleeping. It's like he refuses to sleep now. He doesn't want to sleep. And this is because this is true? That's so weird. Let's confirm that. We're going to debug here. Why did you want to do this? Move around a little bit. I understand now that's the case because, okay, so action ID is undefined. Destination hours to what? Something weird. Destination is the full activity and destination has an action. Sleep once. Okay, so there's the problem. The problem is the ID is not in the action, it's in the activity, and that's why it's important to name stuff correctly. So this is not a destination, this is an activity. And there, yeah, this is not an action ID, this is an activity ID. Activity ID. Activity has an action. And of course, if we had TypeScript, that could also help a lot. Last scheduled action ID is that last scheduled activity ID. Right, that looks better. Now I hope he goes to sleep. Come and sleep. He's sleeping for 1 hour. Then he's going to wake up. And then he did not wake up. He's not going to sleep again. Yes, this is what we wanted. He's not going to sleep again. And that should check again until the morning. No, don't sleep. That's good. and now go to work. And I think we're going to need to test the entire cycle so that he does go to sleep the other day. So now he's going to work on the fields. Let's join him so that he's not all alone. Then he's going to go to lunch. Not now. Okay. Going to lunch. Go to lunch, man. Lunch. You don't want to lunch? You want to go to lunch? 12 p.m. He's supposed to go to lunch. That's weird. Is that a bug? He no longer wants to do anything? Okay, he's going to sleep. I'm not sure. Let's see. Okay, he fell asleep. And he's going to wake up in 1 hour and then not fall asleep again. But I find weird that he didn't go to lunch. Going to lunch is important. Um, and yeah, why did not you go to lunch? She's just working and sleeping all the time. So 12 p.m. is right there. He should be going to lunch now, but he's not. Let's check schedule or schedule. Schedule. No, that's fine. It's not it. Here he should be. So what's your current activity? Schedule next activity. So he doesn't have a next activity, but it's time to get one. So let's see what happens. So he just finished that last activity, I guess. Do we have a new activity? Have lunch. Okay, so so there was an activity change, and he's going to walk to have lunch. Okay, so this time he. Why did you come back? He was on his way. Why did he not complete the walk to the house? So what's the current activity? No activity. That's weird. Well, I'm going to check this bug, but we are already over the 1 hour mark. Next video I'll probably be announcing the end of milestone 8. Yeah, and the release of the source code of the game. So thank you for watching, and I will see you soon.